All right, I got the recording going. Kwan and Penelope, are you there?
Penelope's actually in the shower.
I can barely hear you. It sounds like you're underwater.
Oh, really?
There
I'm
you go.
here.
Way better now.
Sorry, my finger was over the microphone. Yeah, Penelope's in the shower currently, but I'm here.
Okay. Well, I was just telling people changes at foot. After 11 years of doing live call-in shows, I've decided to make a change. And one of those changes is to talk to the audience in a more private situation without all the public shows and everything going on. And whoever shows up tonight, I'm going to have a talk with everyone. What do they want to know about me? I'm looking for what you guys get out of these shows and what I can do that has fun. To get to the truth, I get bored of doing reading sessions after a while.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
So feedback from you, it would help me a lot as I try to craft the foot as the change that is at foot here. The first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working with some of my other mentorship students who can ask me really advanced questions. So they're going to be taking over the shows, and they'll produce the shows, and then I'll come on there on a regular basis. But doing repeat shows such as a light language, an ongoing light language Thursdays class, or Dragon Talk Tuesdays.
Yeah, it's always hard to determine linearity in terms of when like a story that's unfolding with someone like you who deals with time the way that you deal with time. But part of the way that I've experienced your content has been kind of that you put such an abundance out there in such an internal quantum now space that really we can find whatever we're looking for and learn whatever we're looking to learn at an incredibly rapid, advanced, accelerated rate. And the differentiation in terms of time with you, like I can see, like this doesn't surprise me at all. Of course, it delights me that the first time I call in is the night where there's a shift here. But because there's been a part of me when I was listening to some of your older shows, and it was just one knucklehead after another calling like, tell me which kind of interdimensional magical unicorn I am, and you're like, just like, and I could see you like owning your tool, and you're getting it stronger, and you're like being of service, and you're getting humbler. But it's just like, it's fascinating because of the sheer volume of content that you have out there. I felt like such a over the time. I appreciate what you do so much and what you have done, but also I've like seen the. Just my heart goes out to you. It's like, hey, you're gonna be like a magical superhero. So in order to deal with that, you're gonna have to get humble by dealing with 6,000 knuckleheads for the first couple of years.
Boy, did you hit the nail on the head! Wow! Oh my God!
How do we keep Professor X humble, huh?
Yeah. How do you keep Professor X humble? Wow, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, beautiful brother. I had an image of calling you just to like dramatically encourage you in this way, and like thank you for all that I've gotten out of your content, and also be like, bro, so like I feel what you've been doing. Thank you for taking a massive interdimensional Uzi gut to the gut.
Thank you. How did you find me?
Oh man, it was about one Zolkeen cycle ago where I was like wrapping everything up. And oh no, it wasn't. It was closer to the solstice last year. I found you at I don't remember how. The original one, I think I found you on some podcast, and it was kind of crazy because it was like two like spiritual community, new agey kind of kids that like found you, and they had like no idea what they had hit. It was kind of beautiful. And I was like, who is this guy? And then I just started listening to your stuff, and then I just I know how to do the work. And so I just like dove in and just implemented all of the technology that you had to offer. It got me out of some situations. I did a lot with fire. I did a lot with revocations. I did a lot with psychic boundaries. It was just like a master class. And that I did all of that, disappeared, like got out of the very difficult situation that I'd been in, went and like built a whole new life. And then now I'm like building that whole new life. And I dipped back into you again just recently when I did a road trip across the country. And I'm going to tell you, just because it's a beautiful story. Am I going too long?
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Don't worry.
I got a beautiful story for you here about the way that we most recently found each other again. I've been starting my whole life over here at this whole new frequency with from this incredibly powerful position that you articulate and demonstrate so well of taking responsibility for all of yourselves. And I had I grew up all over the world. That's part of the path I took in this incarnation. Part of the ways that I layered I've lived many lives, the saga into this lifetime was I grew up in Ethiopia. I grew up in the Philippines. My father died when I was young. There's all kinds of stories, but most recently, my lady and I are having a child. This like most simple of and most human of acts, and this most profound and powerful and deeply interdimensional of acts. And she brought me here to this home where she grew up in one place her entire life, and I started to understand the blessing that people had been blessing me with as I'd been moving around my whole life that I always thought was a curse. And on this most recent road trip across the country, I'm delivering her possessions to Maine after she's been living in Sedona, Arizona for 5 years. I stopped at the home where my parents took me, where I was in utero in Louisville, Kentucky. And as I was driving there, it was one of the episodes that you were listening to, and you were talking to some time traveler and having her repeat after you and everything. So I got to, and then right at that same time, my lady wrote who's a musician, she wrote a song to the child in her womb. And as I landed at that home, I had already had this beautiful encouragement and allyship of you and the woman you were speaking to on that show recently. I think it was Space Cat. Yep. Right as I landed in this home where I was in utero, where my father built that home. And then the song that she wrote to that child came through, and I got to be the vessel for that song to come to me and just to feel all that space. So I couldn't tell you when I met you. I couldn't tell you when the conversation started. All I can tell you is how much I love you, beautiful brother, and I'm thrilled to be sharing some of my big-hearted lion gratitude in your direction, because you're a beautiful being and you have been serving beautifully for a time, and I'm grateful that you are continuing and glad that I'm a part of your family.
Thank you so much. For everybody that's joined, this is going to be not a broadcast live show. This is just me getting to talk to all the regulars that regularly come in. So if anybody else, Ivan, Suzanne, anybody that wants to unmute and just talk to me, if you guys want to turn on video, please. This is one of those moments. I've been doing this 11 years. Actually, October 31st will be 11 years of doing this. Wow. And I want to get feedback from you guys and then tell you about some of the new stuff that's coming on.
Beautiful.
And 11 years of doing live call-in shows. I think the calculation is about 12,000 live sessions, something like that. Who's heard all 12,000? Colleen, do you want to come on? You want to unmute and come on? Ivan, Suzanne? They're pondering it. Sean, you want to unmute?
Sure.
There you go. How long you been listening for, Sean?
I found you through Laura Eisenhower 2.5 years ago.
And what was I like when you first heard me?
I think it's safe to say I found you riveting. You sounded like you were tapped in, and I was hooked then. I'm hooked now. I'm grateful.
And what have you learned in the time?
A lot. I mean, I've been in a crowd of mystics on and off for about 30 years. So I've known a lot of Akashic readers, but I mean, you're kind of, not a constant stream, but like you're pretty constant.
I'm a constant. I'm a universal constant.
You're like like a
Phi, Pi, and Andrew.
That's right.
He could just keep going and never
Yeah,
repeat
that's right.
anything. You literally are an imaginary number. You're beautiful. He's a universal constant. The sacred geometry of the galactic
That's
historian.
right.
I love it.
I'm a universal constant.
Nailed it.
And I mean, as you know, I like devoured Galactic History 1.0, and now I just devoured your Mystery Schools ebook, and I'm in the middle of Dragons 1, 2, and 3.
What did you get from the Mystery Schools ebook?
It felt like the same like experience like when I was reading when I was listening to 1.0, like I was holding onto a power line. It was just like it had me, and I like could not stop. It was like really the informative, the frequency of informative that I'd always been looking for.
I have no idea how hard it was to do those 3 Mystery School shows. I've never told anyone the level of difficulty that was behind doing that. But let me tell you, it was 10 weeks of pre-record, the highest level of curative ceremony to make sure nothing could get in, so that I could get to the right frequency for that year and that year alone, because I could only take a slice of time at what the Mystery Schools had done, what had been forgotten.
Right.
And it was a unique balance of what could be a Mandela effect. I mean, I'm intentionally creating it in this reality, and what could be something that might become a Mandela effect somewhere else.
That's funny, because I just reintroduced the Mandela effect revocation into my morning revocations yesterday and this morning.
Yeah, I look back at that one and I wonder. I wonder what I was there when I wrote it at the Bide Mill Plantation in 2018. And it came out really fast, probably within, I don't know, 6-7 hours. But I started it in the morning, in like normally my morning started about 10 o'clock, and I would go do sessions till 6. And it would be a cry factory the entire time. Cry, 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 serious student, cry, 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 serious student, cry, cry, cry.
Well,
that was, Monday through Friday.
I
Cry
mean,
factory. But being in that meal and all those tears that were done, it created a cleansing source.
Yeah.
That allowed me to tap into that Mandela effect for what its purpose was, how to trigger people into knowing that their forgotten selves have come together in such a way to help each other. And then how can you tap into that energy without going through the many thousands of rules of what is activating placebo and what isn't, and what it's really just doing.
Honestly, I felt it this morning when I was doing I felt it pull on my heart. So you definitely hit that frequency, the cry frequency.
Oh, every one of them has got the cry frequency layered into it. It's just
great.
Whatever emotional state that you're coming at.
Yeah.
So does anybody else want to turn on their video and come on and talk to me? This is a different type of show. It's not being publicly broadcast. I just want to talk to the regulars that come in on a regular basis, give me feedback. This is 11 years of doing shows. And I want to change. And what can I do that's going to be the best way to help the change move along, as my phone decides to just go crazy? All right, screw it. Yeah, my phone rings. You may be surprised how many times it rings during shows.
I gotta say, I mean, it feels like you're doing it pretty good to me. I mean, you have the material. It's out there for people to digest if they take it on, and you keep hitting the drumbeat of like, do the revocations, do like, hygiene, do like, Epsom salt bath, sage salt silver, grid your room, like you hit that drumbeat, and so it's there. You're like, you're a good band leader.
Yeah. Recently, I did a product that's all the basics I've ever talked about in one place.
I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah, so that should come out in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome.
So Rolling Earth, Army, Andre, do you guys want to come on and talk? This is not a normal show. It's not being publicly broadcast. It's not live streaming. It's just us here.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Where are you from? Do you want to turn on your video?
Yes.
There you
Let me
go.
see.
I remember you.
Remember
Yep.
from the last time, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
Excuse my appearance. My hair is
Okay.
pretty, but it doesn't stop. I just wanted to, since there's fewer people, that I can come back and say thank you from the bottom of my heart. That was a powerful session last time that you helped me with, and so glad that it was recorded. I could listen back, write it down, hear it, and then say, what am I supposed to pick up from this? Very, very powerful. I'm working with my son. He's in a hospital. I talked to him, and one thing I took away from it, oops, hold on, what happened? Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah, so I decided that whatever I do, let me just set this straight. I listen to him, but I will not take his problems on me. He has no one to talk to. That's fine. You can talk, but I'm not taking on your problems. Like you said, the takeaway, the drug thing, I'm being so blunt, but without insulting. He's still trying to figure out why he's in a hospital.
Right.
I said, I can change it. There were some powerful words that you gave me. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to echo also, it is not just my case. And I listen to others. There's so much we can learn. I think if someone's willing to learn and listen, every case that every person you talk to is just so powerful. I just love it. I
Right.
call in, whether I'm ready or not to talk, I would listen because there's so much to be learned.
I'm at a point where what I want to be able to do is to take people on the longer journey of the person, like
Yep.
repeat week to week and show them the greater journeys.
Yeah.
I have techniques that I have been holding back and waiting and waiting. And the pressure's on me, not on you. It's not that the audience isn't there. It's how do you get a group of people who have already learned what self-healing, self-nurturing, and self-mastery means on their own, and they
Yep.
figured out how to make it work for themselves.
Yep.
As long as those skills are built in, there's an accelerated evolution that can be gone through.
Mhm.
And it's just a matter of coaching people to understand perspective.
Mhm.
Because one thing that I do show to show is I maintain that sacred neutral perspective, even when there's a tough love energy client coming on.
Mhm.
Somebody that is really in a tough situation and they can't hear or don't want to hear. And you got to get them to go through that hearing state and then acknowledging the level of trauma that they're in.
Mhm.
I personally never acknowledged that I had a problem, so that I'm always too positive, and sometimes I had to step back and say, okay, maybe this is not my problem to solve, even though I'm in it. I got to give people breathing room to think for themselves.
That's right.
Mhm.
Suzanne or Cindy, do you guys want to come in? Just unmute. All you got to do, bottom left-hand corner.
Oh, yes. So for me, I actually found you from Laura Eisenhower as well.
Mhm.
And the first time I heard you, it was like a foreign language. I didn't hear anything you said. And then the more I dove in, the more I understood it. I will tell you, though, everything you've ever said as far as self-healing and self-love, and you'd say, do this. I did all of those things. I would take those moments. It's such a different level because of all those tools. And then you put the effort in, and then, the thing. People, I have to tell you, the first time I listened to you, remember you talked about to that girl and you called her a unicorn, and she was from India, not India, out there. I don't know where she was. She was an Indian. She had 7 children, and the grandmothers came in and healed. Remember when they put the cloak on her?
I do remember that.
I was sobbing because a friend of mine had come to me and she said, your mother said you need to forgive her. And I said, I already did. She goes, no, you need to forgive her. So the grandmothers can come in and help you with Sarah, my daughter who's special needs. And I was sobbing. And then I delved into all of your stuff and the self-healing, the self-love. And I tell you, everything you've ever said, I just kind of ran with it and fell and ran and fell. And the your tough love is the best for me, because that's what I need to be. I think people need to be met with who they are. You're a mirror to who we are. So that's how it has to be. But for me personally, that's just, what it's been. I how long it's been? A couple years now. I have to tell you. Do you remember the one night through COVID, you do the Friday nights with Monty,
Yep.
and you had people call in, and there was one night I actually was here by myself, and I could have called in. I was scared to death, but there was a guy that called in, and he was playing music, and he was playing on the guitar that Friday night. Do you remember? We were all sitting there listening to play the guitar,
Yep.
like we were sitting around the fire. Those were big moments for me because I got stuck in a washing machine of the rabbit holes, and you were the person that pulled me out of them. I couldn't listen to anybody else, or I wouldn't listen to anybody else. So
I've
that's how I
helped a lot
feel.
of people out of the washing machine.
It,
The rinse and
yes,
repeat of conspiracy or whatever you were obsessed about at the time.
yes, it was like a slap upside the head, and it was really awful time, but it was meant to be. It had to happen. It had to happen I think for all of us.
Cindy, would you like to add anything? Just gotta unmute. Nope, it's okay. Does anybody else want to unmute and come on? This is open to everyone. Angel, Rolling Earth, Andre.
Just a thought about
on.
conspiracy theories. I love conspiracy theories, but you're also a really helpful person to remind people that there's a component where the cabal wants us to be addicted to conspiracy theories.
Yes.
We need to know when to put them down.
As well as there's a huge feeding off of the conspiracy world.
The fear frequency.
Yes. Rolling Earth, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was thinking about like all the health issues and people kind of having their own little conspiracy theories about what's healthy for you, what to eat, what diet to go on. Is that also a rabbit hole of?
It can be if you make it. It's if you're going to decide to be mired in mediocrity with it and take something to the extreme, meaning you're going to choose one subject and practice it until you know you've mastered it and move on to the next. And when it comes to diet, it's knowing what your body wants, what it doesn't want, what type of diet does work for you, and which one you can't cheat on. You can't cheat on means there's no wiggle room in your commitment.
Yeah.
What about the meat? The meat part. I actually think it's another thing about the meat. The veganism is really actually not that good for people. So
only if you're going to shop for your food for every 2 to 4 days. If you shop for any more than 4 days, you really don't have the proteins that are fresh enough to fill in your diet. Therefore, you need to be a market-based person or have a market close by. You can readily go and get protein and protein alternatives. The issue with what's going on here in America is because everybody goes to the grocery store once a week, twice a week, you don't get the daily average proteins that are needed. And that's enforced through the way they teach us about food, what you're taught in school, what's actually on the labels and everything there. To be a vegan, you need to be a good one. Cindy, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I'm a vegan.
Okay. It's hard, isn't it?
I'm a vegan, but the one thing that it does is it raises your vibration.
Sure. Because out of choice. Yeah.
Your vibration is raised and the frequency moves to higher dimensions. It moves in the sequences of what we are to be. For we are here to honor our seeds as we plant these new ones within our minds. Open up your heart and feel the truth of what we are, for we are here in this oasis of love within our hearts.
So well said. The thing with veganism is the bad vegans versus the good vegans. And what did it take for you to become a good vegan? Pre-thinking, understanding what to cook, recipes, creativity, all the new stuff that the old recipes didn't apply anymore. That's the hard part of being a vegan, isn't it?
You have to pre-plan your meals of exactly what you're going to eat. I look
Right.
for vegetables and what I can make with it. So
Right. But since most people are lazy, they don't do it. And that's where we run into the extremes of veganism where people aren't getting the protein. I can literally say in the years of doing this, I've probably saved 20 to 30 people from starving themselves to death because they just eat lettuce and they think that's being vegan. That's all they eat is salads everywhere they go. Okay? You can't survive on that. You just can't. Okay.
Yeah, my lady was a super spiritual musician in Sedona when I met her, just living off of kale and celery. I was so happy to just feed her and feed her. Her body was like so grateful. It's amazing. That simple thing that you said about in order to synthesize light, we need more protein. That's just like the seed that you can implement, experience, and then spread the good news of protein. And then you can just feed them. You can just feed people. You can just trick them into it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one of those useful little nuggets.
Protein doesn't need to be meat. Protein's just protein. Look on the label. What is its protein value? That's it. Cindy, how long you been listening to me for?
my friend introduced me to you, so I've been getting your emails and I can listen to you when I can.
I mean, a month, a week, a year?
About 2 years.
About 2 years? What was it like when you first started listening?
A lot of it resonated.
Like what?
A lot about the Galactic.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
that something you listen to for yourself and have your own communications with?
Yes.
How hard was it for you to accept that you had that skill in it?
Easy.
Easy? What do they want you to do with it?
To write about the channel messages that I've received.
Okay. So is it like speeches given into book format, or is it
It's in
volumes
rhyme.
of data?
What I was doing when it comes, it just comes in. I have different ones come in, so it's in rhyme.
Okay. You want to share any of it?
Whatever comes, if something comes up, I can share.
Okay.
Because I just let it be
Yeah.
when it comes. I think
Okay.
there's more people who have things to say.
Does anybody else want to say anything? Again, for those that are
Hey,
new.
Andrew, I'll
ahead.
unmute, but I don't have a microphone, so I don't know how good the audio
Your
is.
sound's perfect, Dave. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah, I'm actually on Angel Zoom.
I can tell. It says her name and I hear your voice.
Yeah. I just got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, you're on Zoom.
Yeah, just on Zoom today. There's change that is afoot, and part of that change is afoot is acknowledging I've been doing this for 11 years, and how can I do it better?
Yeah.
How can I do it better for me? Because there are some things like we, when you have to talk to the 6,000 knuckleheads to get through. Who was it? It was what Sean was saying before and what Watu was saying too. Having to go through those 6,000 knuckleheads to get to the diamonds in the rough.
One of the guys we were listening to, they just basically shut them down. They're so controlling the narrative now, and anybody that's really getting information out there, they're seeing it go from thousands of listeners to hundreds because they're cutting down the algorithms and taking control.
This channel has been around since 2014, and in 2017 I broke 20,000 subscribers. I'm still at 20,000 subscribers 5 years later.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
don't know
not
how
because
that
the
is.
channel isn't growing, it's because it's shadow banned.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people who are in Arab countries that when they started using YouTube Red discovered me, it was crazy. And then all of a sudden, everything from the Arab countries was shut down. Everything from China shut down, Taiwan, Korea, everything shut down. All the Asian people that were listening.
It feels like, can I give you some feedback? Can I try to give you some feedback about the difference in what I feel over linear time in the show?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try to, it's been trying to come out. It feels like it's what you're asking for. This is my experience. It feels to me something like when I first met you, what I needed and wanted and what you provided, I was like, that's a guy who knows what I want to know. You were like this information conduit, right? I want to know stuff. I'm trying to search. And I will say this with like, just with honor and humility, that like when I'm listening to you now, I'm hearing that's a man who is being the way that I want to be. So it's no longer just that you are an information conduit. I can hear and feel that your heart magic has truly caught up experientially to the other, like your heart magic and the way that you interact with people. Like I understand intellectually that like you had to have this heart magic as a part. Like I'm just, you're showing us more than telling us, or this is just my experience. But again, from my subjective perspective of you, like I've seen you grow to where it's almost that the gift that you give people now is the withholding of the information, because you're honoring so much how much we are all capable of going within, and what you, I think we're just talking about, honoring each of us. Like if you're listening, if you're catching me at this frequency, then you know how to do the work, and you've been doing the work in your own way. So I'm not going to be giving you these
This
little
frequency, exactly. You got to tune into the next station.
Yeah, and we're going to keep transcending together. So whatever we had before, we have all that information, but now we also hold that information in its context, which means that we don't really need to point to that information. Instead, like you get to work on sharpening your edge, which in this case is going to be, like, how do you really lead from a place of profound humility and connection? And how do you allow like what you've built and the information that moves through you to be of like most beautiful, like integrated service to the community and whatever is needed at this next level of evolution that none of us really need. So I feel like you're doing it. That's
Thank you.
why I'm here, I guess. Yeah.
So in one of my earlier shows and throughout the Galactic history, I was asked, am I holding back? And I said, yes. I'm holding back way more than I can even begin to describe.
Yep.
And when I've asked in those numerous times, how much are you giving me? And sometimes the answer is 5 or 6%. A couple of times it's been 9 or 10%. And there are a handful of people that I can do the spiritual gymnastics with and get maybe 15 or 16% out. Okay? Why? It takes a brain to understand a brain, but it takes a heart space awareness to get what I'm trying to do. Okay? And when I decide to go full multidimensional and connect to everything, activate the entire cycle of things that are up there in the higher crown chakra and the lower ones too, the ones that are reaching into the earth. So there's a triple toroidal field going around me, representing the three frequencies of time. And I'm balancing the 3 frequencies of time to tune in to the 1 million letter celestial alphabet, because it's not singular linearly. It's like tuning into the celestial radio station. And, just like we're all plugged into a room here that has its own unique broadcast, even though that this is not live, it's live in other realms.
Live in other realms.
Right. Angel Rock 104.4.
There was a
communication station.
There was a comment you said that was in that subject matter back in one of your shows from like 2012 or 2013, where somebody was like, oh my God, this is so much. And you're like, the information that I'm giving to you is just like very slightly widening the very narrow wedge of information that we have. And I've been chewing on that comment ever since, because it was immediately obviously true. Obviously, like, hey, this is the furthest thing from everything. But, let's widen the keyhole just a little.
Right. Well, the thing with widening the keyhole is you need a bigger key after a while.
Yeah, definitely.
The cipher changes.
New math. The
Yeah.
math changed.
Yeah. For anybody that's
And-
new, that's coming into the show, if you want to unmute and come on and talk to me, this is not a live broadcast show. This is just going on here. Changes at foot. I've been doing this show for 11 years. I'm looking for feedback from you, and I've got some changes that I'll be announcing because, you know, after doing this for 11 years, I want to change. I want to create a different way and help people understand. And what Watu was saying earlier, you know, I got to stop tuning into one level and only tune into another level and hope people can make the leap of faith and jump. And, you know, doing this for 11 years, and what's the next 11 years represent? Because I want to take people who have already got a journey inside them that's solidified and elevate them through the accelerated evolution teachings, which are really simple. It's just about making the pattern recognitions and learning how to see perspectives. You know, some of you be like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Anybody can do it. If I can do it, this little dumb fuck me that figured out how to do it, you can figure out how to do it. And I self-deprecate, but there's a truth to it. I just had to put such minimal amount of effort in it, and it just went there. And every aspect from the source that I've communicated with it'll be that easy for everyone else when you get out of your own way.
Mhm.
Okay, how do you get out of your own way when you don't know in your own way? That's why I had to develop that tough love energy.
What I find interesting, Andrew, is you're the only guy I ever heard that never bounces off my BS meter. You
Thank you.
told me the most outrageous stuff, and I may have trouble understanding it. It may take me a while to process it, but it never do I hear it and go like, oh, that don't sound right. I'm like, I hear it and I'm like, whoa. And I know a lot of times you'll talk about how you have to get a frequency or reading of the people listening so you can tune into the frequency so you don't hit any triggers, because there's information out there that is relevant, but if you give that information to a person who's not ready for it, it's just going to bounce off.
That's right. Mitz, did you want to bring anything in? Did you want to say anything?
Thank you, Andrew. I love you.
Oh, thank
You're
you. Love you
awesome.
too.
Thank you. I just started listening, so I'm still trying to, see how the group is reacting to what you were asking us.
Everybody's loving it. Everyone's getting a chance to show me how I've helped them. How have I helped you?
I asked you for how you have helped me. I am starting to remember that I am dreaming.
Okay.
Well, that's big for me. And I also love the advanced heart guided meditation. So I have recorded that in my own voice, but that has so far been the only thing that I have recorded from your course. But
Okay.
that also has helped me a lot. That opening it up and then meeting Melissa and,
I helped open a lot of doors into your own exploration.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. In very appropriate Andrew language. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Paola, would you like to say something? Just unmute yourself.
Hi everyone. I just joined about 5-10 minutes ago, so I'm just catching up what you're doing.
Just talking to everyone. This is not being broadcast. I am recording this, but I've been doing this for 11 years, and I want feedback from everyone, all of you guys. How have I helped you? And then tell you where I'm at and what I want to do for new shows and what you guys might think of it.
I find I've been on your show before. It was really, really good what you brought up. I like the format that you bring others on and let them speak.
You muted again. Just unmute yourself.
I love that because some of it, whatever comes up, seems to we each have a piece of it.
Mhm.
And it resolves. The interconnectedness. I find it's fascinating how stuff is brought up, how multifaceted we are. And it's just divine participation that people actually speak up, and you always find a great avenue. I would love to find out more of the esoteric, deeper stuff. I don't know if you call them, I don't know, rituals.
Just 1 second here. I'm just switching devices real quick. All right. As you all know, I like to get up and move around. And getting up and moving around allows me to change frequencies, change energies, and still be a part of the conversation and change things. So, Paola, the shared experience that you were talking about by listening to the many people and how you can connect to them, is there anything that you'd like to share about that shared experience side?
Oh, it was recorded. You shared about my nephew passing. It was, I never found out if, I never dwelled into finding out anymore. My brother and my sister-in-law are still grieving. We know it as suicide, but you were saying that there was something else involved.
Yeah, but they would have to go too far into it and they wouldn't want to know what they discovered.
Exactly. And they're still grieving. Yeah. And this is like happened in 2020. I mean, yeah, 2020 during the lockdown. Yeah. And it was very difficult for us all just maneuvering around that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Troy, Kwana, do you want to talk? Just got to unmute. And for anybody, what did you want to talk about?
This is Quan. Well, in the spirit of what you're asking for in terms of feedback, on my journey, I have only been digesting your material as quickly as I can in the last 2 months, really. And I have last week just completed 30 days of the Sacred Masculine Revocation, and my wife has also at the same time in parallel done the Sacred Feminine Revocation for 30 days, and it's really on a huge level has changed so many layers of our lives, but also very subtly. But very profound changes. I feel like my DNA has kind of been reset in a way, and my perspective on the outside world has changed. And I also just want to thank you very deeply for, in a world that profits so much from confusion, and in such a perverted industry of the spiritual. I just want to thank you so deeply for being somebody who's so boldly and loudly and obviously teaching people how to fish rather than just handing them small fish. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to have been reawakened to my spiritual path after really abandoning it quite a lot, just due to the oversaturation of information and the over perversion of this industry, and really just finding better practices, three-dimensional practices to be interested in, and having sort of given up on a lot of my sort of healing talents and gifts over the last like decade or so. So I just wanted to thank you deeply for reigniting that area of my life and re-inspiring me to continue down the path of expanding my healing talents, and my prayer, but strengthening and supercharging the focus and my prayer stamina. Something that I also gave up on a long time ago, and since the revocations, and since listening to some of your previous call-in shows, the new concepts and new ideas and other things have been really helping me to strengthen and hone in my prayer stamina, and changing it from being like a spiritual chore of something that you're not getting, what people would perceive as a chore and not getting anything out of it, or getting an experience out of it, to something that actually develops communion with spirit, and something for me to listen to through nature and through through using the spiritual cord of equity as well, and just offering things that are
those words you said, prayer stamina. It's why I literally wrote the Revocations. It's because so few people had any prayer stamina. Without prayer stamina, you can go nowhere. And would you agree with that?
Absolutely, I would agree with that, because there's if your mind fizzles out after 6 seconds, then like how are you going to manifest anything? How are you going to maintain focus and direct a blessing or direct speech or a prayer to and then a person?
To actually
this is Penny, my wife, by the way.
Yeah, actually making the prayer affect your reality to the point that you can physically feel it, that actual manifestation.
Yeah.
One second here. I'm just switching devices again. There we go. All righty, guys. So prayer stamina. I can only begin to help you understand how absolutely important that is. Okay. Part of me wanting to function with people at a higher level is those that have already learned their prayer stamina. Why? Because I can take you so much further. That's why. Imagine, if 30 or 40% of more of their callers actually had some endurance inside them. They weren't just 9-volt batteries that can run out. They're plugged into the wall.
Yeah.
Come on.
Next
Go,
level.
baby.
Next level
Go, baby.
car battery.
Yes.
Next level portable nuclear device battery.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like you are offering to be a high-level quest giver, adventure guide. This is what it sounds like. It sounds like, are there some magicians up in here? Are there some magical wizards and druids and priests who've been leveling up? They fucking killed their boars. They learned their magic spells. They got humbled. They went through their wall of 6,000 knuckleheads. Does somebody want to go and have a prayer party up in here and change the galaxy? Is that your invitation, Mr. Bartsis?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying, honey bun?
We're going to find our own spiritual Louisiana and go on a parade all night long.
Mr. Bartsis, I do declare. I do declare.
Exactly. I declare.
You beautiful being. That sounds like a great idea. I'll follow you anywhere. Let's go. Just point in the direction of the void. Beautiful.
Thanks. All right. For anybody new that's come in, this is not a live broadcast show. It's just us all talking, you guys giving feedback to me, how I've helped you. Also, I've been doing this now for 11 years, and I want to create a change. And what might that change look like? So anybody that wants to come on, just turn on your video and unmute, and we'll go through everyone. Unless you want to raise your hand, you can do that too. So you can unmute and mute. I say, Andre, you turned your video on there for a second if you want to come on and talk. And I won't call anyone a chicken shit like I do on the comedy show. All right, Andre, how you doing?
Hi. Yeah, I was just playing with my cat here because he's getting kind of he's pawing at me. So yeah, this is cool to have like a little like low-key this kind of community show. I want to thank you for everything that you do, obviously the shows, but who knows what percentage of what you do in public and what you do like this kind of in the unseen worlds. One thing, like always tuning into you, it's like sometimes I'll tune into like a video or a show and I'll expect either information or like a healing something, but it's always a surprise. And it's amazing how you can take people past lives, galactic lives, all types of things that always surprise you, but also keep the human aspect. Like, well,
Thank
what are
you.
you going to do with that?
Yeah. What are you
And
going to do
how
with
are
it?
you
Now what?
and I just love the community. I love the Friday night comedies. It's like I feel like I kind of just know everyone. I tune in, whenever I do, and even weeks later, it's like on a repeat, and I feel like I'm there.
The comedy show was a big soul savior for me. I will have to admit that. I remember asking Monty if he wanted to do a comedy show, and he's like, "Oh, sure." I'd been on a few of his shows already, and been around in a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, all right, they're either gonna like this or they're gonna hate it. How many other spiritual people are doing comedy shows? I need some comedy in my life. They're shutting down everything. The business is changing. I can't have live events anywhere. I can't do tours, nothing. Everything's shut down. Now what? All right.
We must harness the power of silly for the great awakening. The power
Yes.
of silly need not be underestimated.
Andre,
Yep.
can you show us your cat?
Yeah, here, hold on. This is Zigford or Ziggy Poddust.
Yeah, those Ziggy Poddust.
It's Ziggy Stardust, but he's a cat, so he's Ziggy Poddust.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yes.
He was starting to paw at me and destroying stuff, so I had to play with him.
Yeah. Attention now, human.
Thank you.
See, yep. So yeah, he's been around and scurrying around for many shows. So I'm sure he's tapped into some of the wisdom.
He's unentangled observer energy, listening.
Oh
in.
yeah. Whenever I meditate or do I tell people when I do energy like distance sessions, I'm like, you might hear meowing. It's my cat. Just he's just helping out. So
I see Rolling Earth. You got your hand up. What did you want to say?
I was
Turn your video. There you are.
Yeah, I was thinking about the beginning part where people joined you because they figured they were in a point of change. Something was wrong and they didn't have a clue where to go to find any facsimile of a possible
Which
answer.
began the "What's My Purpose" journey.
Yeah. So the next one, the next kind of step in it is reclaiming your voice. I couldn't do the revocations without screwing them up, couldn't read it, flubbing it.
Even though it's English you've been reading your whole life.
Well, yeah, exactly. So you get to the point where you've reclaimed your voice, and then you reclaim your mind, where I was out the other day and realized I spent like 45 minutes without having a thought.
Welcome to the clear mind world.
Yeah, it was just like bowled me over the fact that had happened. And then you get the freeing of your mind, as in what kind of information you can put into it. Because it's so exponentially bigger than what we're dealing with on a daily basis.
That's right.
And, I get into conversations now about, the what ifs of the what ifs. What if doesn't have to be what if and was. And that's why I go is, was, and will be, because all of those are part of the equation of the perception anyways. Yeah. Which is in the nature of what I'm holding back, what Watu was saying earlier in the conversation. I am holding more back, and that's the greater teaching for everyone who may not realize it, but in the fact that the greater mission is holding back instead of not telling you everything. And then what I don't need to know, because there are things that I don't need to know until I need to know them, but I've already known what I need to know. Okay? That's a very unique state of being, knowing what you need to know in the moment of you needing to know it. And knowing that there's nothing you need to know until you need to know it. Yeah, I get the flash of light that you have to open up. Oh, to read the relevance. Yeah, the relevance. Like when I was telling people about what it takes to read a person, I've refined it to looking at their atlas and axis. Early on in the shows, if people remember, I wanted to hear about your dreaming world, the first 10 minutes of your life. That was a specific style of reading that I was doing, because I was reading more of the dreaming body,
because it had a lot more facts and truth that I could deal with versus the person who was in an unawareness of their own facts and truth. And oftentimes the dreaming world has this codex of how to create triggery language and words that the everyday you can understand and trigger. Although I remember that from dreaming. You don't know when or where, but you know you were dreaming when you had it. And then the next evolution is, you know, where were you born? And, you know, then I didn't need anything. It's just, I just need to tune into the Atlas and the Axis, and then it'll tell me everything I need to know. Okay. When I first decided to do those dream frequency readings, I realized there was a very short amount of time that I could continue doing that. The world wasn't ready for it. Quite literally wasn't ready for it.
And then the other kind of point I was going to ask is about the time frame.
Okay. What about it?
Right. And what I mean by that is the event when it happens is when it happens for you. It isn't one big event that everyone sings Kumbaya and finds their guitar and a fire, right? It's when you make the effort and maintain.
Uh-huh. And the event happened in 2014, and everybody goes, what happened? You missed it. No, it's a standing wave in time that you can go back to at any moment and act as a marker in linear time to understand how fraud time is affecting you. It's the cipher to get out of fraud time.
Yeah. Well, that also implies that at the opposite end of this is that the results are unlimited.
Have always been unlimited. And that's why we can experience the end and not experience the end simultaneously as a culture. That's so the uncollective consciousness of all the many cultures in our living world today, the 7 generations that is still alive, because there are older beings that live in this world. You just don't see them, but they generally only live 800 to 1200 to 1300, maybe 1500 years now. A few, but most of them regenerate. They take a body much earlier because it has less capacity to be targeted when you're in a long-term body.
So at what point in there is there a change where you can help other people and be
individually? When the person comes, whether it doesn't matter what state of awareness in, it's can they be open enough in the moment of what I grabbed through their field of chaos and put in front of them, whether it's a tough love or a training experience for them, and then do something with it in the moment. If you can do something with it in the moment, I can amplify what you do 10,000-fold until the point that you're feeling it, experiencing a part of it. Because it's light therapy at that point. And what is light therapy? My etheric body and your etheric body have precognitive workforces that have brought us together, that have already created the baking of the light, the type of dense, hard light we're going to use to shatter the shades and shadows that are creating fake light inside you.
Because I get the feeling that I'm in that realm of I'm not worthy enough.
No, you're worthy. You asked the question already. Yeah.
Yeah, I've already started. You know,
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so, you know, it's a matter of taking more steps and becoming more, I don't know, efficient or confident or whatever.
I can tell you just by the way you've talked to me that you've done far more than you admit you've done. And maybe that's something you got to look at. Okay? Well, how far advanced are you really at doing this? Okay. What is your average effort level over the year? That's why I keep hammering what effort level is.
Ooh, yeah, that's a very good question there, because there's also breaks in there.
Yes, but breaks are found just like school. You have summers off, you have Christmases off, you can have regular breaks, and I encourage them. It's when people don't take breaks and do it 7 days a week and beat the shit out of themselves that it becomes a chore and not fun to do it.
Yeah, because my schedule now is really based on the fact that I'm helping some groups get together.
Okay, you're a
in
connector.
2 different locations that looking for the direction, that I do it by asking questions, not by taking leadership.
Good. What else can you do with it? How else can it benefit humankind?
Well, yeah, that's my criteria for anything.
Right.
You know, like anyone asks for my time, it's willingly given totally on the basis of if it's for the benefit of mankind, I'm all in.
Okay, so I'm going to test you now.
All right.
Okay, so I just want you to tune into this type of energy. Just on the far side of Saturn, side that we can't see, there is a space vessel that's kind of a box, more like a rectangle shape with pointed ends. Okay? It's silver and brown, and there are these little dots of light on it. And everyone in here, you can all tune into this energy. And these little dots of light are blinking in a code. And that code is how to communicate to them through light. So you don't actually have to go in the ship. You'll all be through a point of blinking light, but you'll be able to experience their ship holographically. It is a subtle form of bilocation instead of an actual forced bilocation energy. And these ships are set up all over the galaxy as consciousness first communication systems. So you can intentionally go there and meet a being who will go through first contact with you. What is first contact? What will it be for you? So Rolling Earth, I want you to just tune into those energies. Okay. See yourself aligning with it. And then saying hello. And this is a first contact communication situation. How can you be of service through first contact?
My initial senses say, and this may have something to do with the area that I'm living in right now, is druid.
Okay. So you just say the word druid.
Yeah.
Okay. What appears around you now? Just roll with it. Your own answer.
Whatever it is, it's getting bigger when I try to locate it.
Okay. Does it have
So
feet?
I obviously started
Does it
too
have-
small.
Does it have feet or is it a machine?
It has a frequency, so it's got to be something that's alive
Okay.
and able to respond.
Okay. Did you ever play catch with friends when you were young?
No.
No. The one person that's never done it. Okay. Okay. You ever played a game with someone that it's a back and forth energy, like chess?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Just get that energy of moving energy forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. Okay. That'll help tune you in a little bit better. And then they're going to ask you a question. How can we be of service to you?
First word is realization.
Is this a realization?
It's getting me to realize something.
Have you not realized it already?
I have, but
if you have, hold on. If you have past tense, how can you have not now?
Willingness to accept responsibility for it.
Whose responsibility?
Mine, on the basis of I don't want to mislead someone. Or
you're not misleading anything. This is first contact.
Okay.
There's no agenda or preset in it, was there? 10 minutes ago, you didn't know this was going to happen.
No.
This is precognitive workforce. Aligning, how do you be of service to each other? And sometimes just the banter itself is the service. That's why it's first contact. So this is, think of it like bar dating. I'm using a joke here. You just have to be able to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and be open to talking to a person is really what it is. Okay. And it's a state of being in that where you just want to talk. Well, these people want to talk to you. So set past the selfish energies and ask a question.
So biggest question is, I'm helping someone in a situation, and I'm not sure which direction I need to go in.
Okay. So our answer back to you is you're helping more than just one person in this situation. And if you took the time to see the many different layers of perspective of what you have done, you would see all the layers that you still haven't done.
All right, so we got an answer there. It's something to do with logic.
Yes, a logic bomb that you're not seeing in yourself, which has locked you in a train of logic that doesn't allow you to see the logic bomb of explosive logic and expansion, which you've been afraid of for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think in linear logic anymore.
Yes, you do. You're on the
Jump
last
over it.
vestiges of being stuck on it, which makes it hard to understand not all the nonlinear logic.
Okay. All right, I find it boring.
Understand the fractal chaos patterns.
Yeah.
Because it isn't chaos. It's all order. It's just a matter of perception. All right. Anybody else want to step up and go through this type of experience? Jen, I see you got your hand raised. Go ahead and unmute and turn on your video if you want.
Oops. Yeah, it wasn't that kind of experience. I thought this was just the question and answer thing. It wasn't necessarily about first contact, although
It is about that. I'm just put you on the spot. Sorry.
So you wanted me to open to the first contact thing?
That's up to you. Your choice. If you want to, or you could just say what you wanted to say.
Okay.
Free will.
I am interested in, I feel like there's a crux in me somewhere that I haven't been able to reach. It has to do with light and dark. I don't know. It goes real angels, demons in my mind. And I have really like the softer side, the lighter side, and to the point where I feel like I've even run a massive amount of hell states. And I don't know what I'm doing here anymore. The calling seems to not be to do that anymore.
What do you do as a job?
I'm a somatic psychotherapist, and I also offer sacred serpent dancing. So dancing with live snakes.
So it's fair to say in the years that you've been a professional at it, you've been exposed to the largest variety of perspective, both positive, negative, and neutral.
Yeah.
And some of the more darker ones have been challenging you in the last 7 years.
It feels like the dark has been challenging me a lot in my life, but yeah, probably the last 7 years. And I also just feel hypersensitive to many different layers that I wanted to talk to you because you seem really
you've
consciously
taken it on,
clear on them.
You've taken it on from clients. So
it feels like more than clients, and it feels like
and the things that are attached to them too. The thing is, you're at a state where you are in between science and faith. And your faith in science has showed you a faith in the human spirit that doesn't have a science defined for it yet. Yet you know there's a science behind consciousness and spirituality. It's just, how do you create the language for it that science won't immediately reject? So you are living on both sides. You're in an amphibious energy because of the nature of your job. Now, I understand where you're coming from. I average 100 sessions per month for nearly a decade. I bet you're at that level a little higher.
no, I can't do that much. So
I was exposed to that. And I had to learn very advanced ways of letting go. And I want to do some of that with you. Okay. So what I just want you to do is just to imagine the brightest of lights in all directions coming at you. Okay. To the point where you can feel warmth on your body. Okay. And then I just want you to repeat after me. And what I want you to add to this visualization is light coming out of your heart into your tongue and amplifying your voice with heart-spaced awareness. So you're adding color from your heart and tongue into the wind and vocal cords. This is the pure raw you. I, in this ever-present moment of now,
I, this ever-present moment of now,
acknowledge the light I create inside me.
acknowledge the light I create inside me.
That is from my heart to my tongue to my words.
That is from my heart to my tongue to my words.
This is the manifestation of me.
This is the manifestation of me.
I am also at service to helping those that are going through their mind, body, and spirit journey.
I am also at service to helping those going through their mind, body, and spirit journey.
To discover proper mental health for themselves.
To discover proper mental health for themselves.
In this journey,
I
have run across those who cannot do.
I have run across those who cannot do.
Who have given up.
Who have given up.
Who have done things to themselves that are unspeakable.
Who have done things to themselves that are unspeakable.
And this weighs upon me.
And this weighs upon me.
With every word I say now.
With every word I say now.
I create a color frequency of purple.
I create a color frequency of purple.
That comes out of my mouth.
That comes out of my mouth.
And is like Braille writing.
And is like Braille writing.
That those who are within my journey.
That those who are within my journey.
My healers and those I've helped healed.
My healers and those I've helped heal.
The potential.
The potential.
In these words in Braille.
In these words in Braille.
Is all that I've learned from darkness.
Is all that I've learned from darkness.
And it is servitude without end.
And it is servitude without end.
I'm at service to the eternal.
I am in service to the eternal.
I am not in service to the darkness.
I am not in service to the darkness.
I'm at service to that human that comes to me.
I am at service to the humans that come to me.
Not to the entities that run it.
Not to the entities that run in them.
Or to the cults or societies in the dreaming worlds.
Or to the cults or societies in the dreaming worlds.
I am not of service to you.
I am not of service to you.
I now break all contracts, vows, and agreements.
I now break all contracts, vows, and agreements.
With all dreaming societies.
With all dreaming societies.
Focusing mental health care.
Focusing mental health care.
Onto practitioners.
Onto practitioners.
Who do not have the full training of life, science, and spirit.
Who do not have the full training of life, science, and spirit.
In my years of doing this.
In my years of doing this.
I have seen darkness.
I have seen darkness.
And I have seen light too.
And I have seen light too.
I now take every memory of light that I have.
I now take every memory of light that I have.
And white out with light.
And white out with light.
All those dark memories.
All those dark memories.
They are replaced with light.
They are replaced with light.
There's no seams left for their perceptions.
There's no seams left for their perceptions.
For I know I am not of service to them.
For I know I am not of service to them.
This purging and releasing within me.
This purging and releasing within me.
Connects to my divine and sacred feminine.
Connects to my divine and sacred feminine.
That part of me that has guided me through every session.
That part of me that has guided me through every session.
I honor you with every prayer word I do.
I honor you with every prayer word I do.
Help me purge.
Help me purge.
This darkness I have heard.
This darkness I have heard.
Through each client.
Through each client.
Let's see all clients healed.
Let's see all clients healed.
And let's end all contracts, vows, and agreements with all clients in the past.
Let's end all contracts, vows, and agreements with all clients in the past.
We've exchanged physical energy in this world.
We've exchanged physical energy in this world.
Not your energy.
Not your energy.
Raw creational energy.
Raw creational.
That went through the Babylonian money magic system.
That went through the Babylonian money magic system.
It no longer affects me now.
It no longer affects me now.
Because our accounts are at zero.
Because our accounts are at zero.
You can no longer deposit your darkness in any of my realities.
You can no longer deposit your darkness in any of my realities.
I have ended your banking capacity in any of my parts of that hold my resources.
I have ended your banking capacity in any of my parts that hold your resources.
I now call due.
I now call due.
To all those things that took energy.
To all those things that took energy.
From my service to those humans.
From my service to those humans.
You owe me.
You owe me.
What have you learned from me?
What have you learned from me?
You can no longer use me.
You can no longer use me.
Without paying for it.
Without paying for it.
All your debts and markers are all time and space are called in now.
All your debts and markers in all time and space are called in now.
And you have nothing to give me back.
And you have nothing to give me back.
But darkness.
But darkness.
I now break all contracts, vows, and agreements.
I now break all contracts, vows, and agreements.
With all the aspects of darkness within my career.
With all the aspects of darkness within my career and life journey.
And I now accept.
And I now accept.
I must regularly purge myself.
I must regularly purge myself.
Of the darkness.
Of the darkness.
Until such a time.
Until such a time.
I create new coping skills.
I create new coping skills.
Such as what I am doing right now.
Such as what I am doing right now.
And integrate it into my world.
And integrate it into my world.
Future me.
Future me.
Inspire me.
Inspire me.
Inspire me at the infinite ways we can see ourselves doing this with joy and happiness.
Inspire me with the infinite ways we see ourselves doing this with joy and happiness.
Help untangle my throat.
Help untangle my throat.
So my heart truth can come out.
So my heart truth can come out.
In book. In book and speech.
In book and speech.
So I may teach the future generations.
So I may teach the future generations.
What life is like.
What life is like.
With good mental health.
With good mental health.
Positive people in your life.
Positive people in your life.
Coping skills that work.
Coping skills that work.
And the spiritual perception and the journey you go through.
And the spiritual perception and the journey you go through.
How did that feel when you were doing it?
Yeah, it feels like claiming a little bit more of me and my strength.
Do you realize how much you've given away to the job? 60% of yourself you gave away. You got about 10% back in that little time. What is it going to take for you to reclaim 51% of yourself? You got to be the majority voter here. And you got to con yourself, literally, your other selves that don't want to change. What does the future for you look like outside of that field?
That's a part that scares me a little. I'm contained right now, but I have a lot of fire and I tend to repel people and I don't know how to live it. I don't just repel people.
No, you're a type A personality that gets done stuff fast, and you need to have people around you that fast, or you just let them go. You're driven. Okay. If you know you're driven, you have to direct drive yourself. And part of direct driving yourself is going, I cannot use my life force in this state of experience with this type of job. Is there something else within my field that will not cause chaos and moving on to something I may not be ready for? Maybe an administrator's job, or specialized counseling with corporate levels, and then starting working with a different group of people that aren't the everyday mired in mediocrity or worse. Okay. What's worse for you? Weeks of clients of just, them stuck in their head doing nothing, or the crazy ones after the crazy ones?
I feel like I'm generally pretty good at dropping people out of their heads and into their hearts, and it feels pretty good.
Sure, but the repetition process of doing it to the same type over and over again. That's what I'm referring to. It's cutting at your endurance to be able to do it.
I see.
And your driven energy it's now driving you to burn the candle at both ends to do it. Okay? It's kind of similar to where I'm at, of doing 11 years of live shows and wanting to take people to the higher level instead of just grabbing a brand new person with each show. I want to show the progression of what people can do if they just put a little bit of effort to themselves. Where do you live at?
Sonoma, Northern California.
Do you have access to a float chamber? You know what those are?
I think there is, yeah, like it's the deprivation.
Yeah, I highly recommend that you go and don't do more than one, do two. And if you've never done one before, the first one can be extremely weirding out, because at the end of the session, 1 hour is 8 hours of deep REM sleep. And you won't realize it, but most people without realization go into REM sleep within like 15 minutes of being in, but they're in the denial stage, but they're still in REM sleep. They're still in a high delta sleep, but the body is recovering. And you need a body recovery base right now.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to regenerate the body. Do you know about cranial sacral therapy? Have you had it done recently? All right, what I'm going to describe is something very specific for you. When they're doing cranial work, they do what's called intraoral mouth work. There are pressure points on the inside of the mouth, and these are very blocked up because of the nature of your work. Okay. Your voice, your actual voice, the power of your voice to heal and connect to people is being suppressed by those energy points. Okay. You may need 2 or 3 sessions to really unlock them. What you'll discover is it's just a black tarry energy that won't go away, that's solidifying and getting harder and harder. And the next thing is you have a lot of tight fascia inside your neck yourself. Did you have a neck injury earlier?
My neck's been sore today. Slept on it weird, but yeah, I have some trouble with my neck. It's not very strong, like to hold my head up this way. Those muscles aren't very strong. I have trouble with that.
What I think is going on when you get into session mode, you have a bad posture that takes over, that's causing swelling in your C4, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
I'd highly recommend a posture guard thing, one of those things that forces you to realign yourself. Oftentimes when healers like us get into that state, we just take up, like right now I'm in the awful, I have a high shoulder high and shoulder low, but it's a comfortable state of experience for me. And that bad posture can obviously create some swelling and some damage. And it would be really good for you to get someone to get in there and actually do deep tissue massage on you, actually go through the deep trigger points, and it will absolutely hurt, and it's supposed to hurt. But when it's done hurting, it will generate a bliss and a joy coming out of that space. Okay. And what you'll notice from the float tanks is you're going to come out even more tired than you went in. But after you sleep again, it's like having like the best afternoon nap you could have ever had. Okay. And Keep it as that from the beginning. Eventually, you will begin to learn how to use that state to clear yourself deeper, just like we did in this situation. Okay. You need that sensory deprivation to get into the raw consciousness because you've taken consciousnesses apart down to their pieces parts and know what makes them up. You also got to do that to you. And inside the float, you can. You have access to the holographic language system that we all have. That's our mind. Does anybody want to add anything? Anybody else want to? Let's see. We've got Maggie. You want to come on and go ahead and unmute?
Hello, Andrew. Hello, everybody.
How you doing? Where are you
I'm
from?
doing all right. Just got a little cold. I'm from Alberta, Canada.
Ah, we've talked before.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
just talked recently, actually.
Yeah, I remember now. So this is a different kind of show. This is just me asking about people's feedback because after doing this 11 years, I want to find a different way to do it.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. Honestly, this is really nice to see so many faces and to hear so many voices kind of conversating.
How have how have I helped you?
I would say that you are helping me to unstick my head from my ass.
Cranial anal version.
And to really, like, I don't know, just be present. I'm still processing every call I've ever had with you. And I think the more that I take on your teachings and work with them, the more I kind of lose momentum. I think it's just like a reality check of where I am right now and how I'm trying to spiritually bypass the process. And yeah, I think it's been a very humbling experience working with you. I came across your work years ago and I knew there was something special about it, but I also realized now I wasn't ready for it. Like there was a lot of it that deflected and it wasn't till years later that I could really appreciate like the tough love that you would give people and what one was saying earlier about how you're really representing authentic character. You know, you're showing the way rather than telling it now. And when I watch you work with people, I get so much from those, just watching you do a healing exercise with someone. I think those are my favorite ones. You did like an energy session with a couple with her throat, and I was blown away by that. I think it just took another level of just what we can do for ourselves. Yeah, so I don't know, you challenged me in so many ways. I love it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, on the journey to understanding this job is what kind of challenges you can put out there that people can do, and then make ones a little bit harder and a little bit harder and a little bit harder until people are like, stop, too hard.
Yeah, I think for me the most challenging one is being put on the spot, like you were saying before, when you can get an experience out of the now. I still get the blanks. And something else I wanted to mention was, I think listening to your calls, I noticed a theme. It seemed, because I too was kind of wondering where you were going with these calls, because they do seem to be evolving. And it seemed to me that you were possibly, as well as putting your feelers out to see where the collective consciousness was, but also perhaps looking for certain individuals. it was just, I don't know, it was a thought of
No, you hit it spot on. I want to teach people in a different way. I've been holding back on the teachings. I have a set of teachings that came through in 2019 that I've been, stuffing away, waiting for a group of people that already have a state of understanding of what self-practice is by doing it on their own without me having to nag at them.
Yeah.
Anybody that starts with that level, the accelerated teachings that I have are just turbo boost for the moment. It's how to cut through the beating around the bush and get to the core subject, which is perspective training.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the people that you attract to your calls, it's always very, very intriguing to me. Especially like I'm kind of I hermit myself away, and working with you, I've been working on that and getting out there more. But again, the next level that I'm working with now is social media. You said that like 2 calls ago, and I'm still like
Working on
being bogging myself down, because that is literally the next level of my evolution, is to make time for my guidance and clear my mind completely. And the work I'm doing with polarity therapy in that has been very helpful.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And what was the hardest challenge I gave you?
The hardest challenge, I think, well, it's right now, it's the social media. We recently talked about the chicken shit energy that led me to realize that my relationship was very codependent.
Yep.
And so we talked about having a conversation with my partner, and
I remember.
I had that conversation. Like, it's funny to me because I didn't even skip a beat, because that's how close I was to having that conversation. And everything you said kind of just like laid everything in a row, nice and neat for me to kind of, again, stop blocking myself. And that conversation has really shown me how I haven't been myself for years in this relationship, which has been a very long-term relationship. And so it's been only weeks now, and I'm kind of in a place where I'm floating around questions of who I am without that. And going through all those initiations of just re-identifying who I am. And
Evaluating yourself.
The beginning was scary, and now at this point I'm like, congratulating myself, and I feel really good about it. And it's not that, and I'm really happy and somewhat relieved that it didn't take a negative turn. So now here I am, no longer kind of bogged down by that, and I'm still bogged down by my own BS. So it's another reality check of, okay, so it wasn't all of that. Now you're doing this to yourself. So now I see the next level is like the social media and being better with my time, managing my time better.
Thank you. We have some other people that want to come on. And see, Nico, you've turned on your video. Is there something you'd like to say? Just go ahead and unmute.
Did I do it?
You are unmuted.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was eating pistachios. Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm feeling really I just moved, so moving's always kind of tough. And I moved from a place that I didn't want to leave. I found a really great spot. Okay. I've been on this journey since the plague of getting myself into nature. And it was kind of like the plague hit, had to get out of nature, or had to get out of the city, had to get into nature.
Okay.
And so it's been this culmination and journey of connection with myself and self-discovery, and that it's all been through nature. And fast forward to now, I ended up in this really small town, and connecting with somebody, partnering with someone in a business that has helped to heal a lot of wounds from business. So I guess what I'm trying to say, or I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to
You're stuck.
explain.
You're so stuck right now. 4-wheel drive and a winch won't get you out of where you're at. You have to call for a truck recovery system.
Well, I've gone through these upgrades during this whole process, and
Sure, better tires, better winch.
Yeah, so I'm here at this new place, and I guess I just feel kind of weird because I'm at this place and I just moved here and I didn't want to leave where I was. And right before that, I had this interaction with a friend of mine, and I felt like being around her and her presence really kind of, her resonance upgraded me psychically. And it was very profound. And so when I was in sessions with people, I was getting more downloads and clearer visions of how to help people. And then I had to move. And
what kind of sessions were you doing?
I do craniosacral myofascia massage type body work.
So you work with the light touch, light tissue, and you move the electrical energies out of the fascia systems and then connect to the cranial pulse. How much of your work
I do that, but I also do deep tissue. I do both. Yeah. So I do a combination.
How much of your work is psychic surgery inside your head you never tell them about?
Oh, well, it starts before they even arrive.
I know that. That's why I want to expose a second here what you actually do. And part of this type of show that I'm doing is because it's not being broadcast, it's just being recorded for private, because I've been doing this for 11 years. How long you been doing what you do for?
Well, I feel like it's been an evolution of what I do. So it actually started out in like the entertainment industry, like doing hair and makeup for people, like beauty stuff, esthetician work, things like that. And I just found it really eventually to be very draining, and I couldn't keep up with it. And I just kept wanting to go deeper. So I started with this, then I started doing facials and working people's skin. And then I started doing massage and just going deeper and deeper. And it's been an evolution, and now it's become more psychic, really.
Yes, I'm very aware of it. If you could see the light that I see, you would have a whole different perspective of yourself. And I want you to be able to see the light that I see.
Thank you. I do see it. I just
you don't see it unconditionally. You see it conditioned, certain conditions you see it.
I'm out of sorts right now. I really am.
I get it.
Yeah, it's been I didn't want to leave that place. I had to leave it. It was kind of a funky thing with a relative, you know, so and my environment's really important to me, you know, so I'm living with a friend and it's not really ideal, but it's fine.
So let me help you with something here. This is what I want to do. Work with people who already have skills like you, have been doing it, figured out how to do it on your own, and then teach you how to use your skill at another level.
Okay.
So just want you to visualize right now a 1 hour payment coming from you to you. See it come into your spiritual hand and go into your spiritual purse and into your spiritual bank account. Okay. You have energy of 1 hour. You are now the paid practitioner in this experience that I'm coaching you through.
Okay.
I want you to use your psychic fingers. You don't have to move your hands. If you want to put your hands like around your head, you can. And I just want you to feel the tightness on all your sagittal sutures.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Okay, now I want you to release the pressure in the sagittal sutures and allow your face to go through the change of expression that you as the practitioner should see when you release all of those sagittal sutures. You have sunken orbits, which you know what that means in myofascial.
Yeah.
Okay, let those orbits come forward. Feel the popping underneath there. Feel the back of the skull come and open up so that this pressure, all this psychic pressure that you're under, can go to the rest of the body. Feel the fascia in the back of your neck at C1 and C2 that are blocking this energy from going down. Get in there and break up with deep tissue psychic fingers the back of your spinal column, C1 to C6. Pull out all that garbage you've taken on because of just change. Okay? And your thoracic vertebrae 6 is a big, giant blockage right now. And this blockage is the hump you're in right now.
Come on. Yeah.
Okay? Pull it out. It's like a dagger in C6.
Yes, it is.
Heal it. You are a paid practitioner. Heal that wound. Yeah, you had to pull a lot of energy to get that one to go, didn't you?
Oh, wow. Gonna have to raise my rates.
Yes, you're gonna have to raise your rate. That's telling yourself how good you are. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Now the next thing, underneath both of your shoulder blades are 2 giant psychic cysts. Okay. These have been in you for a long time, and they are building up, and they need to be drained. So this is going to be psychic deep tissue getting underneath the shoulder blades, and then it's going to be myofascial release to regenerate the spot so it doesn't go back to hyper twitch, because that's what's going on with those muscles. They're twitch, twitch, twitch. And this is all from bad posture, especially when you're in a heavy psychic state and doing shit.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, that comfort, you just like go into that comfortable place, even though it's not the right posture. Yeah.
Okay. These psychic cysts are in the shape of stars. So they got little pointers on them. And those pointers might want to leave little burrs behind them. You got to pull everything out. So the cyst is completely hollow, and then we'll degenerate the cyst itself. So it can't be a space where negative energy can be filled back up with.
Okay.
It's part of your energetic vascular system that's storing negative energy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wow. Yep.
I want you to activate your liver meridian and see a fork of energy going up your spinal column and connecting to the left and right and draining out all of that energy through the liver, allowing the liver to direct transmute it
into creation, inspiration, and dreams.
This has been here for a while.
Yeah. Probably since you were 10.
Oh, okay.
Okay, when it's done, let me know.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Now I want you to go down to L4
Okay.
and visualize L4 from inside looking out. And I want you to look for places where the shell covering of the bone is allowing etheric energies through. And any of those spots that are allowing etheric energies through, you have to repair the shell, specifically on L4.
Okay.
What are you noticing as you're repairing through here?
I'm feeling a lot in my head.
This is the brain fog.
It's also, there's a lot of light happening down there.
Yeah. Light that's being given detours to where it's supposed to go to, and it's diminished by the time it gets there. I want you to realign L4 with the top of your crown chakra. You can actually see L4 go all the way up into the top of your crown chakra and have a software update direct from the crown chakra to L4.
Okay.
What's going on inside you now?
My crown, I can see through my crown looking down my spinal column. And there's more to be cleared. So I'm doing a sweep.
Do a full sweep and a full update to all vertebrae.
Yeah.
They're going to let go of all parasympathetic programming, on all fascia programming that are pulling the vertebrae left, right, up, down, and moving their XY axis. So all fascias that are attached to it, that are moving its shape and form, all of that fascia energy is neutralized too.
Yeah.
We got a big realignment in your spinal column coming up.
Yeah.
Feel go all the way into the top of your sagittal sutures too. There's an expansion up there that's alignment with the spinal column too. Okay, I want you to take your right thumb and put it on the top of the roof of your mouth, right in front of where your front teeth are.
Okay.
Put your actual thumb in there. When you were pushing on it, do you feel energy moving?
Uh-huh.
Is it like a bigger circle in connection?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Take your thumb out, put your tongue up there,
Mm-hmm.
breathe in purple air through your nose and track it going through a circle. Does it connect more to the fascia or to the parasympathetic? Central nervous system.
Central CNS. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I want you to use the same clearing frequency used on the spinal column to the central nervous system.
Okay.
Go in there and repair all those places where things are seeping in that shouldn't. Is your tongue tingling?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want you to see arcs of electricity coming off the tip of your tongue, activating the roof of your mouth into your nose, into your eyes, into your eyebrows, releasing all the fascia in the face.
Mm-hmm.
All the teeth, letting go of all the experiences that never got to be spoken. Okay, I want you to go down the tongue to where the tongue ends, and the space where the tongue ends to the heart. Mm-hmm. There is a highway connection from tongue to heart.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to open it up. It's got some blockages on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes. Okay.
And you can go through the thymus to do this. Okay.
Oh.
There we go. That burp is a release of energy.
I must have a lot of releases of energy.
All right. I burp all the time when I'm doing it.
Having a little bit of a hard time with that one.
Yes. That'll actually be something you got to go back to, where you are in the artistic state of healing. You've really done a bunch of clients, and you're going to tackle that spot because it's going to need 4 hours of self-payment to get through. But that 4 hours can be done in 25 minutes. All right, I want you to look at the tips of your fingers now.
Okay.
How much healing light has gone through those?
It's ongoing.
Okay. I want you to admire them. Okay. Admire them. Let those fingers touch your face and relax all the fascias in your face. So you are a complete facial relaxation. There you go. Pull that shadow off. There are emotions there? Okay. What are those emotions?
Feeling seen.
Okay. Can you see how much healing light has come out of your face for every session that you've done, equivalent to the fingers? And your whole body too at that?
Sometimes.
Give yourself that gift now as a paid practitioner to see your light. Experience your light. You got paid for it. Give it to you full on. No restrictions. Let it come through your face, come through your heart. Yeah. Have you ever done light language before?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to just have you do a light language session with me. And this is all
Okay.
about healing more of your body.
Okay.
Yahik. So you just respond in your light language to me, and I might do some translation.
Okay. Nasa ya ni ko ananchalan hai bota isa kia to kona na shatapu toko sinya angaman china la chapa.
Wati na ya yawaka iyo noto ki mayinako kochinomoku shahi na hat waka kia batuna ye na chakotu yata.
Tanya han anshan an kon ton chochi toko cha anshula kachincho pochi kopuchi al chal paul chakatia in skurstur kopun shu per la kochichi po ankot h Einstein for ideal Kushak per Tyler Patenti.
Nimo ika yawa ashnioteke ayinata wakai sayama wiya takashi sanutiki yenatasu nimekau mayina kata washnaka hayata hata hata.
Post Jupo Ting Kotso Halu Chu Hot Tolan Jinkia Por Shula Portachi Colonai Hypoi to Hael Karchu Opusi Kunchi Tingonolo Parachitar.
Nimia tika ayita tayata toto nahi nauma mayaka kayati ti na ika wahata shin natika.
Pudge, Shilo, Emerged, Akarla Muchelar, Ta Party, O Lobenji, I, Ochitu, Opuchi, Ochichi, Oputata, Chichokoputsu, Ochu Abo, Wacha, Anchi, Okochi to, O you about to, Hoi, Hey.
How did that feel when you were doing it?
Feels awesome.
What's it doing to your body?
I get tingles. I get, I always feel good when I do that.
Watch the waves of energy go throughout your body. Okay, we're going to try it again, but focus on how the light language is creating a body-based response in energy, just as if you're doing fascia work. Okay, this is an energetic fascia session we're going through. Yihiti yikiya wahukani nana chikoa watinini te wahoki i chamo nata.
Tasta tustu wo to puchi kustu pochai ya hakoyo hatoyo hakutoyo hakochichu hachichu puchichu wakachayo pachata anskin chobo ala ochichu achikala puchota pochi kasta.
What did it do to your body?
It's doing something that I feel like I'm shaking. So like a cellular shake.
Yeah, because you have just brought in such high level frequency from yourself That is the point of doing light language. You adding light language to your sessions would be a very great idea for those that are ready for it. Okay. You're now beginning to just not just see your light as a gift to yourself, but all the other things that are available to the multi-tool that is you. Okay. Just watch the changes in your body for the next couple minutes. Okay. And what you're going to begin to see is you're literally just giving yourself an energetic fascia release session. We have energy fascia that's outside of our body. That's not that big of a leap to think about and how it connects.
Not at all. But
not a big leap.
I never even thought of it though.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
This might free up some of the choices you have ahead of yourself and what's going to do to make stability so you can get back into your artwork of healing.
And artwork.
Yeah, and the art of healing and the healing of art. Okay? Literally.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful.
You're welcome. So let's see, Amber, you've got your hand raised. Do you want to share something with us?
Sure.
You want to turn on your video?
Yeah. How do I do that?
The video button.
1 minute. Your video is stopped.
You just got to turn it on.
Wait. Sorry, I'm not very good at
It's okay.
this stuff. I see video filters.
No. Just in the Zoom screen, you should just see a microphone and next to it a video symbol. Your video symbol has a line through it.
Oh. I'm on my phone.
It's okay. You just muted. That's the mute button. Unmute.
Okay.
Here, I've given you a signal to start video.
Start my video.
There you go.
Wait.
There you are. We can see you.
Okay. It just unhooked my speakers. But I was hoping, I wanted to know, how do you sometimes how do you release certain stress in the body? Because I have I'm been very psychic since I was small, so I have these moments of paralyzing dread for no reason.
No,
And then
you have them for a reason. No, you have them for a reason. There's always a reason for paralyzing dread.
Oh.
It's because you gave your power away to something, to somewhere, and you got to take it back.
Okay.
So when you having these energies that put you in a paralytic state, that means something has control over you. Most often it's an aspect of yourself that doesn't want you to grow.
Okay.
And you have to confront that aspect that doesn't want to grow and show it how it has grown.
Okay.
Part of the greater journey into ourselves is to be willing to interrogate ourselves, especially those that assume power. Okay.
Yeah.
When you go into that state, something is assuming power over your capacity to say yes or no to it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And as a person that's been a psychic for a long time, that's what you just said. You have to know when you're giving away your power and how to take it back, and the many infinite amount of ways of taking it back in such a way that doesn't create a trauma again.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I'm not good with being safe ever. And then when I'm actually in a safe space, I'm still not feeling safe.
Sure, because you don't trust yourself. You don't trust yourself with the power of being fully psychic and fully seeing as a human being, because something beat it out of you a long time ago.
Yeah, as a child, I had no protection, so they basically ate me every night.
Yeah, and they can't eat you anymore if you don't let them, and you can gain back everything they've eaten from you.
Okay. That'd be good. I'd like to be an empowered person that can use all my abilities, because I have a lot of good abilities that could be useful, I guess.
Well, it requires some effort and work towards yourself, where you're going to direct your own psychic skills. So I'm going to do something similar to what I did with the last person. Okay. I
Okay.
just want you to visualize the top of your crown chakra,
Okay.
creating a pyramid above it,
Okay.
about 6 inches above your top of your crown.
Okay.
Okay. And I want you to see a shaft of light to come down from the sun and connect to the top of this pyramid.
Okay.
And then that pyramid acts like a flashlight, amplifying the light in your crown chakra. Okay.
Okay.
Like an eyeball, your crown chakra has an iris that opens and closes. I want you to consciously open the iris so more and more light comes in.
Okay.
Okay. Use all of your psychic skills to fill the inside of your brain. Every aspect of the physical matter that is your brain is filled with light. All the synapses, seen and unseen, is filled with light. And anything that is rejecting the light is ejected from your brain.
Okay.
See all the darkness running away from the light.
Okay.
Running and running fast because the light is there's not their savior, it is their destruction. Okay. I want you to see this light coming out of your eyes, your nose, your ears, your mouth, your face. Okay, your hair. Okay, coming down the spinal column, enlightening every single vertebrae, has the power of the sun of this solar system radiating inside every single vertebrae. From the bottom of your tailbone to the top of your crown chakra, completely enlightened.
Okay.
See it pushing out all the darkness.
Okay.
Okay. See your bones fill up with light. The muscle, the sinews, and the fascia and the organs filled up with light. Anything in any space that's inside you that's creating shadows or shade has light upon it and must leave this body, mind, spirit, and complex being that is you. Amplify this light coming down the tube from the sun here. Feel it tan the inside of you, just as you were sunbathing, the inside of you. Fortifying all aspects that allow energy within yourself and closing down the negative portals to negative worlds. Anything that is a portal to darkness is closed, sealed with this light. Okay. What do you feel as you're doing it?
Well, I see things and I feel like kind of like I've worked with the sun a lot. It kind of like it's almost like a cleanse.
Mhm.
It feels like it's relaxing some of the tension in my back, and definitely my head feels more open, and my heart's a little bit more easy,
Mhm.
and I'm a little bit more present.
Okay. In the time that you've been listening to me, what are some of the lessons you've learned?
I've learned that I feel like we take long journeys to re-meet ourselves, and that these people are very precious and that they're re-meeting themselves every day. And sometimes it's hard, but it's always worth it.
That's right. A lot of truth to it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. It's like I've got time for one more person. Anna, they have had their hand up for quite some time. Caught them sitting on the table.
Oh, how do I turn it?
Oh, figuring out the unmute. There you go. You can do it. You can unmute. Nope. I see the finger hitting the screen and missing. Boomer finger.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go. You got your millennial finger to unmute yourself now.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm using Anna's phone. You just spoke with Anna last night.
Yeah, I remember talking to her.
AKA Ginny.
aka Ginny.
Yes. So how have I helped you?
Me or
both of you? Both of you.
For me, I've had a complete flip of alteration. From talking to you, I came in with so many nerve uncertainty, and now I'm just pumped. I've brought out my old playlist for my yoga and my.
You're gonna have to come closer to the phone. You're a little too far away.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah.
So, since our talk yesterday, I have audited my life that I forgot about.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I went through my old yoga books and found playlists on Spotify, and I've been listening to the music and remembering these aspects of myself have been pushed away. And then stepping into myself as an artist, great day as an art teacher. My students were on point, making incredible renditions of Van Gogh's Sunflowers and Georgia O'Keeffe. And I had this love and also the ability to let go. So thank you for yesterday.
You're welcome. I know you got a big journey ahead of you, and it's just reclaiming you and getting that fear out of what you had to go through.
Yeah, I feel that birthday. I feel that release, where this is all a celebration. Every moment that I had today felt like a celebration.
So when's your new birthday going to be?
Well, maybe like in March.
Yeah, a couple weeks after the surgery.
Right. I love Pisces season, so I'm looking forward to that.
March 23rd.
There you go. It's my birthday. It's your new birthday too. There you go.
There you go. That's the day. And I have to make all the costumes, which I'm looking forward to. Well,
Wonderful.
Thank you.
I told her how to have a second birthday after she goes through her surgery. She's got a big surgery ahead of herself, one that has been 2 decades in the making and a lot of fear behind it. But now she's able to face it and realizing how her life will change when it's done.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've been meaning to say this to you for a couple shows, probably a couple months ago. I think Josh from Integrated Presence brought up like a timeline of your trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already thought of it like a couple episodes back during a comedy show, and I was like, I hope I get to say that from Lance to Tyler to like through everybody that you've been with, it's been this ride of just different experiences, different. It's almost episodic, you know, like that you have seasons, you know, you have the
Yes. As the galactic candle turns.
Yeah, like Sean and the pirate ships and like all of it is playing out in a way, and even in your writings, how the sequence opens up with like in the dream, and then you bring the dream into now, and we get to see each other more, and we get to actually be actualizing like what like I watch and I learn. I'm fumbling a little bit, but to be able to share with the people in front of us and go through the exercises and have it that much more intimate is making an impact not only on me but everybody. I take it into, you know, the Revocation for all lost soul shards. I've been working with that personally lately, and just having you and the community here and has been making the synchronicities in every moment. I can observe them and have a better response ability to like everything. And just to give you a read on my general area is responding quite well. And yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Having people that have been on the journey and know the different evolutions of what's going on. And, early on in the show, there was another gentleman that was talking about me holding back. I don't want to hold back no more.
Yeah, I know. And I know I'm like it. But
I want to find people that can go on the roller coaster ride.
So
like
do I.
Nico, that was a roller coaster ride to get her to go through that, and then to sneak the light language in at the end. Her soul wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautifully put. Nahuka, Wayitana, Yigi, Yiji me, Wainiki, Tate, Shahoka neta, Lucky, Wanatata, Shiwaka, Washmi, Maniniki, Yashawa, Waka, Tashio, Washnihika, Goto, Nidata, Wayikika, watch it, Chakina, Tumoki, Kimomu, no, Kimomu na, Munukuki. Tricky one at the end there.
Nice. And
it's all about creating the explosions of energy and the frequency for people to perceive it and receive it.
Yeah. And thank you for laying out the waves, illustrating the waves that light language makes, like physically, mechanically through. It was nice to have like just you putting that there. It was like, yes, I can relate with the waves too, and color them. And yeah.
So with this, I want to let people know I have gone through an evolution and have realized that I can't operate in the same ways that I did before. And I want to offer everyone that's listening here tonight and all the other people that are going to be listening in the future, come on a new journey with me. Okay. And that new journey is I want to have Light Language Tuesdays, Dragon Conversation Fridays. Okay. Go into some of those deeper areas where we regularly revisit some of the different aspects, and not people stuck at the beginning of their journey over and over and over again. Me personally, I'm tuning out of broadcasting to that lower frequency and broadcasting to those that are ready to make the jump into self-healing, self-nurturing, self-mastery, and take the teachings and run with them. Just like everyone that's had their own little advancement that's gone through, the time of learning and learning how to practice with it. Okay? These aren't shortcuts. They're the easy cuts. Okay? You heard me say all the time, there's no easy way to do this. Well, I was lying to a lot of you, because if I told you there's an easy way, you'd do it the easy way.
You have to drill the basics first.
Yeah, you got to drill the basics first.
Right.
Okay?
And then you learn the contra code. ABA.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been on the journey since we talked, and I've been doing my due diligence to get the opportunity to speak with you again. And I'm glad that it's now.
Yes. So the changes it's going to be is I'm going to be broadcasting during the days now. I'm going to be working with some of my mentorship students, Laura Massey, Dale Tobin, Maddie Waller. I don't know if you all know them. So there's Two Feather Medicine and and then Dale's group, Expanding Consciousness, and they're going to take over the shows. And we're going to be using a program called Locals. Is anybody here familiar with the program called Locals? It's a YouTube alternative.
No.
Okay, nope. So in 2019, when Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson were all deplatformed and debanked, they created a YouTube alternative that doesn't have any censoring and allows you to build to actually do true community building. Okay, so we're going to be doing a community building through that process of using Locals, and then we're going to have more frequent broadcasts like Dragon Tuesdays, Light Language Tuesdays, Dragon Fridays. and to go through some of the more advanced healing things, like having people like Nico or anybody else that wants to come on and test the limit, show what the new levels that we can create with. If you've done the basic work, I can amplify your basic work to 1,000-fold, where you can begin to see how it can have an effect in the greater world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to, you'll be getting email. If you haven't signed up already for the email list, sign up for the email list. It'll be giving you the new links, but it looks like we'll be broadcasting generally at 2:00 on Thursdays or Fridays. It depends. So they're all going to be, European time. So I have to adjust my schedule also. So we're also going to be doing a bit of a marathon leading up to Halloween, and we're going to have a little Halloween marathon special where we're probably going to broadcast Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and just give people a new chance to experience the new types of teachings that are out there. We're going to be on tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And I think we did light language our first day, and we're going to do a continuation of light language. I'll post on the Facebook as well as send out an email links for people to be a part of that show.
Nice. That's exciting.
Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for coming in and giving me your feedback. I look forward to more intimate moments where we can all talk like this, and then take the teachings to the next level and give everybody an opportunity to go through those advanced healings like that you can see. I can do with each and every individual person. I just need people to step up to the plate with some skills built in. All righty, Nico, let me go back to you real quick. What did you see as changes?
I'm just buzzing.
They're just buzzing.
Yeah.
They're just buzzing. Okay.
And here's Ruby. Well,
hello, Ruby. Okay. As you're going through the buzz, I want you to think about the fascia work you've done to other people. Okay? What did it do to them?
really, it's changed people's lives.
And you let it change yours. That's the buzz. Just the buzz is literally letting it accept to change yours. And you will have completed the cycle of giving to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. You paid yourself, you did it. Now experience it and don't reject it.
No.
Okay. Just
Ready.
accept it. It's your gift to yourself. You did it, no one else.
Thank you for facilitating.
You're welcome. These are the things that I want to do with people that are in the skill sets like you, because I know I can take you to higher levels of experience and awareness.
I desperately need it. Yes. I'm ready.
All right, guys. So pay attention to the email for the new links and remind everybody that's in the community. Changes at afoot. We'll be broadcasting quite a bit between now and Halloween just to get people onto the new system that we're doing. Thanks a lot, everybody, for coming in and sharing your time with me. We will be on tomorrow at 2:00 Eastern time. We'll be on the Expanding Symmetry YouTube channel, and I will see if I can get it linked to this channel at the same time.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, everybody, take it easy.
Bye,
Have a good day.
everyone.
Bye-bye.